Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Ayakewala and I am level 1 student at Rehan Sulaiman campus, Islamabad. So we are come to our new ChatGPT conversation with AI. So ChatGPT, my first question is, what is definition of a promise?
Walaikum assalam. Great to have you here. A promise is basically a commitment or an assurance that you will do something or that something will happen in the future. It's like a guarantee that you hold to your word. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, ChatGPT, my next question is, how does keeping a promise differ from fulfilling an obligation?
That's a great question. Keeping a promise is more about a personal commitment or a voluntary assurance that you give, often based on trust and integrity. An obligation, on the other hand, is something that you're required to do by law, duty, or a contract. So, a promise is more about trust, and obligation is more about duty.
ChatGPT, my next question is, why do people make promises in the first place?
People make promises for a bunch of reasons. It's often a way to build trust and strengthen relationships because it shows that you're reliable and that you care about the other person. It also helps set expectations and create a sense of accountability.
Okay, my next question is the promise
Plus, it can just be a way to show commitment and goodwill.
ChatGPT give answer? Viewers, net problem. ChatGPT, my next question is a promise always verbal or can actions be promised to? ChatGPT, Reverse net issue. Okay, my next question is how do cultural differences influence the meaning of a promise?
Around them and the consequences of breaking them can all vary quite a bit from one culture to another. It's a fascinating topic.
Okay, my next question is keeping promise a moral duty or a personal choice?
That's an interesting question, and it can be a bit of both. On one hand, keeping promises is often seen as a moral duty because it builds trust and integrity and it helps maintain healthy relationships. On the other hand, it can also be a personal choice as individuals decide how seriously they take their commitments. It really depends on personal values and cultural norms.
Okay, my next question, can breaking a promise ever be morally justified?
Absolutely. Sometimes breaking a promise can be considered morally justifiable, especially if keeping it would cause harm or conflict with a greater moral duty. For example, if fulfilling a promise would lead to significant harm to someone else, then breaking it could be the more ethical choice. It's all about the context and the greater good.
Okay, my next question is how does promise keeping relate to personal integrity? Integrity.
Keeping promises is a key part of personal integrity because it reflects honesty, reliability, and trustworthiness. When you consistently keep your promises, people see you as someone with strong moral principles. It also means that your actions align with your words, which is a cornerstone of integrity. When your integrity is intact, and necessarily, sometimes circumstances change and it can become genuinely impossible or impractical to keep a promise. And that doesn't mean you're dishonest. What matters is how you handle the situation, being open, communicating honestly, and making an effort to rectify things if possible. Integrity is more about your intentions and efforts than about never having any changes in plans.
Okay, my next question is how does keeping promises a bit ethical? Theories like content, ethics, or humanities.
Mm, That's a great question. From a Kantian perspective, keeping promises is a moral duty because it aligns with the categorical imperative, which means that you should act according to principles that could be universally applied. In other words, if everyone broke promises, trust would collapse. So it's a moral obligation to keep them. From a utilitarian viewpoint, keeping promises is ethical if it leads to the greatest overall happiness and reduces harm. So, in both theories, keeping promises is generally seen as
O-
positive ethical practice.
Okay, my next question is trust relationships. How does keeping promises build trust in relationships?
Keeping promises is a fundamental way to build trust because it shows that you're reliable and that your words align with your actions. When people know they can count on you to follow through, it creates a sense of security and reliability. Over time, this consistency
Okay, my next
strengthens the
question
bond
is
between
can
people.
trust be repaired after a broken promise?
Trust can definitely be repaired after a broken promise, but it usually takes time and effort. The key is acknowledging the mistake, being genuinely sorry, and taking steps to make amends. Consistent actions that demonstrate reliability and transparency can help rebuild trust over
Okay,
time.
my next question is
It's definitely
what
possible, but
happens to
it requires
relationship
commitment and
when
sincerity.
promises are broken?
When promises are broken, relationships can experience a loss of trust, which can lead to feelings of disappointment, hurt, or even resentment. The extent of the impact depends on the nature of the promise and the overall strength of the relationship. However, with communication, accountability, and effort to make things right, relationships can often heal and become even stronger than before.
Okay, my next question is, are small promises as important as big ones in maintaining trust?
Absolutely. Small promises can be just as important as big ones when it comes to maintaining trust. Consistently keeping small promises shows attention to detail and reliability, which reinforces the sense that you can solid foundation of trust, making the relationship more resilient.
Okay, my next question is, how does keeping promises affect teamwork in professional settings?
Keeping promises in our professional setting is crucial for effective teamwork. It ensures that everyone can rely on each other, which helps in meeting deadlines and achieving goals. When team members keep their promises, it builds a sense of reliability and respect, fostering a positive and collaborative environment. On the flip side, failing to keep promises can lead to
Okay, my next
confusion,
question.
frustration,
My next question is,
and a
what
breakdown in teamwork.
emotional
So,
impact a
consistent.
broken promise on the other person?
A broken promise can have a significant emotional impact on the other person. जरूर मैं समझ गया मैं आपकी बातों का ध्यान रखूंगा और आपकी मदद करने की पूरी कोशिश करूंगा अगर आपको किसी भी ऑफिस में
Okay,
मदद
my
चाहिए
next question is, do you broken promises have long term even if you apologize?
even if you apologize, broken promises can have long-term effects depending on the situation and the nature of the promise. An apology can help mend the relationship, but trust may take time to rebuild. Consistent efforts and actions are usually made to restore that trust fully. So while an apology is a good step, the impact of the broken promise can linger until trust is rebuilt.
Okay, my next question is, how should you handle a promise you can't keep?
If you realize you can't keep a promise, the best approach is to communicate as early as possible. Be honest about the situation, explain the reasons, and, if possible, offer an alternative solution or a new timeline. Taking responsibility and showing your commitment to making things right helps maintain trust and respect in the relationship.
Okay, my next question is it better to under promise and over deliver?
Absolutely. Under promising and over delivering is often considered a great strategy. It helps manage expectations and can lead to a pleasantly surprising outcome for the other person. This approach usually builds trust and shows reliability because you're consistently exceeding what was expected.
Okay, my next question is, which is worse, breaking promise or lying about making one?
Breaking a promise and lying about making one are both actions that can damage trust, but in different ways. Breaking a promise usually means that the person didn't follow through on a commitment, which can lead to disappointment and a loss of reliability. Lying about making a promise, on the other hand, can create a deeper sense of betrayal and can be harder to rebuild from. In
Okay,
general,
my
honesty and
next question
transparency
is, full
are
of
key to
world where no one keep promises be functional.
That's an interesting question. A world where no one keeps promises might struggle with trust and reliability, making it difficult for relationships and systems to function smoothly. Promises are a fundamental part of social contracts, helping create predictability and trust. Without them, it would be challenging for people to cooperate and work together effectively. So keeping promises definitely plays a crucial role in a functional society.
Okay, my next question is, can broken promise ever make our relation stronger?
It can be possible in certain situations. If a promise is broken, but there's genuine remorse, a sincere apology, and a clear effort to make amends, it can actually strengthen the relationship. It shows that both parties are committed to working through difficulties and building trust
Okay,
in a deeper way.
my
However, it
next
really
question
depends
is:
on
can a
the
broken promise ever make a relationship stronger?
It can happen in some cases when a promise is broken and both people handle it with honesty, openness, and a willingness to work through the issue. It can actually lead to a stronger bond. The process of repairing trust and understanding each other better can deepen the relationship. Of course, it requires effort and
Okay,
mutual commitment.
Maya. Okay, ChatGPT, Michael. Next question is: how has social media changed the way people view promises?
Social media has definitely had an impact on how people view promises. And on one hand, it's easier to make public commitments, like social media pledges. But on the other hand, the fast-paced nature of social media can sometimes make promises feel less binding. There's also a trend of people making and breaking promises more casually. At the same time, social media can also increase accountability as people are more visible and their actions are more transparent. It's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Okay, Maya, my next question. Okay, ChatGPT, my next question are public promises like TV on TV more important than private ones.
Public promises can carry a different kind of weight because they are visible to a larger audience, which can create a stronger sense of accountability. However, private promises can be just as important in building trust and maintaining personal relationships. Each type has its own significance, and the importance often depends on context and the relationship involved.
Okay, ChatGPT, my next question is: does technology make it easier or harder to create promises?
Technology definitely has a bit of both effects. On the one hand, it makes it easier to keep promises because we can set reminders, stay connected, and follow through more efficiently. On the other hand, it can also make it easier to forget or overlook commitments because of the constant distractions and the fast pace of digital communication. So, really depends on how we use it.
Okay, my next question is: are promises in business contract different from personal promises?
Business contracts and personal promises definitely have some key differences. Business contracts are formal, legally binding, and come with clear consequences if they're not fulfilled. Personal promises, on the other hand, are usually based on trust, integrity, and mutual respect without any legal enforceability. That said, both types of promises are important in their own contexts.
Okay, ChatGPT, my last question is: should promises always be keep even when change?
That's a thoughtful question. In general, it's considered good practice to keep promises, but sometimes circumstances change in ways that make it impossible or unwise to follow through. In such cases, it's important to communicate openly, explain the change in circumstances, and find a mutually agreeable solution. So while it's ideal to keep promises, flexibility and honesty are also key.
So you are discovered conversation with AI. I don't like it. See you in next conversation. Allah Hafiz, Pakistan, Zindabad, Rajkot, Zindabad.